Today's motovlog is going to be a little lighthearted, hopefully. It's about my martial arts journey, where I started and where I am now. It was, gosh, I was in middle school, and I was kind of a not so smart person, not so smart teenager kid, and I had a bicycle that I rode to and from school, and I usually go after school. I would go with my friends to this arcade, and it used to be I think it was like a convenience store or like a little fast food joint that somebody bought and turned it into a video game arcade. So we would go there after school every day and use our leftover lunch money to play a couple of games and then go home. Well, one day I went there, and I think I was by myself that day, but on the side of the arcade was a chain link fence, and so I would lock up my bicycle on the chain link fence. But this day I was only going to be there a few minutes, and so I didn't lock up my bike for some reason. So I go inside, play one game or two games, and then when I go outside, I go to my bike was gone. And I look out in the street, and this kid who went to the same school I did. I knew him. We weren't friends, we weren't enemies, but he was riding my bike. I was like, "Hey dude, I need my bike, I need to go home." He goes, "Oh, I'm just test riding it." Kind of, kind of teasing me. So I got mad. I said, "Bring my bike back now." So he rode around a couple of circles, came back, and parked the bike in the parking lot of the video arcade. And I went up, and I think I tried to punch him. And so we got into a fight because he rode my bike. So we got into like a fist fight, and I punched him, and he fell down. And instead of me, this is back before the MMA days. There was no guidance on how to get to a fight, and I had no training, had no martial arts training or nothing, or no fighting training or anything. So I knocked him down, and instead of going in for the kill and beating the snot out of him, I was like, I don't know. I was trying to be like what I saw in the movies and be the bigger person, and I said, "Get up, get up!" So he gets up and punches me in the face, and at that point we're like, okay, we're even. And so I got on my bike and went home, and I think he gave me a slight black eye. So when I got home, my sister was there, and she's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I got in a fight with a kid at school." And we talked about it, and I was complaining, this and that. It's like, "Well, do you want to take Taekwondo class like your brother?" My brother took Taekwondo class at this gym from this guy named Master Choi. Master Choi was a Korean instructor, and apparently he was like one of the top bodyguards for a Korean general. So he was very well very well trained, very well versed in Taekwondo. And here's a picture of me and him when we met later. So my brother took Taekwondo at Master Choi's Academy, and I think he just got to like a blue belt or something like that. So when I went there, my sister had signed me up for 6 months, and she signed herself up for 6 months also. So I started taking the class, but then she was working and was not able to come to class with me. So Master Choi what do you call it? Prorated her attendance. Right? She paid for 6 months worth of training for me and her, but she didn't go. So he only he eventually let me use her unpaid training to take the training. So I got a year's worth of Taekwondo training, and I think I got to like an orange belt or something like that. It was like 2 or 3 nights a week. So I took the training, and I mean, I did okay. I wasn't the best. I went to a couple of, oh my goodness, got a cement truck hit a vehicle or something. Ooh, hit another truck. Oh my goodness, this is bad. That was bad. Wow. Yeah. We're gonna have some issues here. We're gonna have a little backup traffic here. Oh wow. I hope and pray that whoever was in that car in the middle of these two trucks is okay. So I took a year's worth of training, and being a kid, it was very fun at the beginning, you know, with the intro classes and stuff like that, and I got decently good at it. I remember when I made like yellow belt, there was it wasn't really a competition at Choi's, but I was able to sign up for the competition. You know, you did, and for like kids, it was just, you just did demonstrations. You didn't do any sparring or anything like that. There was sparring for the older kids and for the adults, but I didn't do any of that because I was still very, very new. And so anyway, I went to this competition and I signed up to do one of the forms, and I was average. I was average. So I didn't win anything. I think I got like a participation trophy back then. But you had to work. You had to work hard. You had to train hard. And I remember watching one of the slightly older kids than me who were black belts do their forms, and man, they were really, really into it. They were really good and crisp. So that really motivated me to do more training and practice more and try to get better and better. So moving on through the years, at the end of the year's worth of training, I didn't have any money. I didn't ask my sister if she would pay for more of the training, and plus by that time I was starting to get, well, yeah, I started high school. And any people out there who have ever been in Scouts or have kids who are in Scouts, when you get to high school age, say 15, 16 years old, you start losing focus on things that you did before and started paying more attention and being more interested in 3 other things. 3 G's: gas, girls, and grades. So I was more into gas, which is cars. I started driving, and I was kind of interested in girls. Not yet, you know. In up to middle school, you know, girls were still kind of gross. Girls and boys had cooties. And grades. So I was in middle school and trying to do well in middle school. And that's kind of a different story. Middle school was when I found out that everything I did in elementary school didn't count. You know how they tell you, hey, if you misbehave, you're gonna, you know, your punishment's gonna be on your permanent record. There's no such thing. So anyway, middle school, I started kind of waning out on interest in Taekwondo, but I was relatively good for my age and for the amount of training I had. I could do kicks. I could hold, you know, I could hold the kicks straight, level, high. I wasn't good with like spinning kicks or anything like that, but all the basic kicks I was really, really good at. And the forms, I was decent with the forms, but you know, I was average for the age and for the amount of training I had. Well, after I was done with the year's worth of training, I didn't take any more training for about, I'd say 20 years. Because I had other things to do, right? I joined the military, I went on deployments, I was married, went to college, had kids, and it wasn't until my youngest son was 4 or 5 years old, my wife signed him up for after-school class at a martial arts school. The outside of it said karate, and I drove by it every day going to work. I was like, karate? Okay. And but they taught Tang Sudo, and Tang Sudo is a precursor to Taekwondo. So the lore is during World War II, a lot of Koreans were, I guess, taken prisoner into Japan, and or you know, there were a lot of Koreans in Japan and took karate, and then after the war they went back to Korea to teach karate, but there were so many different instructors and teachers that they all had different names for what they called their version of karate. So their version of karate, one of them was called Tank Sudo. And Tank Sudo is very, very similar to karate. In fact, some of the forms that they do mirror what the forms of the katas in karate are. And in fact, you know it, come on, Chuck Norris was in the Air Force, and his initial martial arts training that I think was Tank Sudo. So Chuck Norris knows Tank Sudo. I believe because he was stationed in Korea. So if you know Tank Sudo, you know a little bit about Chuck Norris. So I took Tank Sudo with my son, just to be there and I guess support his training. And I remember taking the first Tank Sudo class, and one of the instructors was like, "Do you know any martial arts? Did you take any training?" He's like, "Yeah, when I was like 15 years old." It's like, okay, so we'll run you through the basics. And apparently it was like riding a bicycle. After the first maybe week or so, man, it all came back. I knew how to kick, I knew how to turn, I knew how to punch. It was really fun. And so I took that class. My son took the class with me for I think about a year, and then he lost interest and he stopped going, but I kept going. So I took it for like 3 years. And given my previous training, the owners of the Tank Sudo school promoted me pretty quickly, because I was really into it. I was really interested. I was doing a lot of training. I was doing a lot of rigor, and my instructors actually got me up to the black belt level in like 3 years. And usually I think the average true real black belt time frame is about 4 years for the average person. But given my previous training, I was able to do it in 3 years. So then I got a different job out of town, so I moved, and but I work remotely. So when I went to my new company work, one night I was looking for a liquor store to go to bring some refreshments to a friend. I looked on the GPS for a liquor store, and it gave me an address, so I drove to the address, and there was no liquor store. It was a taekwondo school. I'm like, well, that's weird. And it's like, oh well. And I saw that there were people inside training. It's like, oh, I got nowhere to go. I'll say hi to the instructor and just to say, hey, I have martial arts experience and training, and I just wanted to say hi. So I met the guy, and he was very nice. He still is. He's a very good friend of mine. And we had a little conversation after his class, and he goes, hey, if and next time you're up this way, because I was working remotely and I was traveling back and forth. And he said, well, next time you're in town, bring your uniform and you can train with us, for free. I was like, oh, thank you very much. So I did. And here's a picture of the first day I took training with him. So eventually I decided to go ahead and move up to Pittsburgh from Texas permanently. And so I talked to the instructor that I was temporarily training with, and it's like, I'm gonna rip the band-aid off and join your school permanently. Okay. So I trained with him for another year, and he was full Taekwondo. He wasn't, ATA or any of those off popular what do you call it, franchise Taekwondo schools. He was an independent school, and he taught you the real stuff. He was the real deal. 50% was rigor, and 50% was sparring, light contact sparring. But it was more sparring than any of the other schools that I took. Not that I didn't like any of those. Well, at Master Choice School, the older students did spar, but I was too young to spar at that time. But a lot of the other schools, well, some of the schools that I was aware of, and even the Tang Sudo school, we did spar, but maybe once a month. It was more rigor and forms and stuff like that, which was fine, just fine. Nothing wrong with that. But if you're more into sparring, kind of like churches. Some churches are what you want, some churches aren't what you want. And I didn't, I did like to spar, but I think it was good. It was a good part of my journey because I probably wasn't ready to spar yet. But anyway, the school in Pittsburgh, there was a lot more sparring, and I really, really enjoyed it. Now, I've never been after my initial training with Master Choi. I didn't do any other competitions, just because I was just in it. It was just a hobby, really. I wasn't expecting to get into fights. I wasn't expecting to do any competitions or anything. It was just a hobby. It was just a workout. I have short attention span, so lifting weights or running and stuff like that, I did all that throughout the years, but I didn't keep up with it because it was just boring. But taking Taekwondo and sparring and doing different things every day, that kept my attention. So I really enjoyed it. So yeah, so I took, I was with school for I think 5 years, and I did several promotion tests, and I got pretty good. So nowadays I'm at a level where I can be an instructor. I mean, I could be an instructor before, but now I could possibly run my own school if I wanted to. Well, I'm getting close to work, so I'll let it go here. That was my martial arts journey. Hope you enjoyed the story. Take care. Have a good day. Later.